Hello.
Wow. Here we are.
You were just a smidgen of a head. Look at you.
Oh yeah,
How are you, Mr. Rosenberg?
Chair.
Sit up a little bit. Show some pride.
I actually fell out of my chair earlier today. I was
that
that shocked.
Seen something shocking on the internet that caused?
No, I went to turn, and it's one of those chairs. It's got 5 legs, so it should keep you balanced. And somehow it just hit the certain point. I'm like, oh, I'm going down, and I never stopped.
That's terrible.
I never stopped.
But you know what? Not terrible is that this is episode 158 of the EriDan Film Festival. My counting has got off, but I believe I fixed that, and we are officially at episode 158 of the EriDan Film Festival. Movies 197 and 198 for the double feature at night. This is going to be a fun one. This is the show. This is the show. If you're like, I never saw that movie, I don't know what I'd say. This is, come on. This is we're doing some really popular movies tonight. So we want everybody to feel like they can join in, even if it's just for 2 minutes. You can join in at eridanlive.com. You don't have to stay the whole show if you don't want to. You can stay in the chat if you want. You can pop in and go, I thought they both were terrible, and you can jump out. No big deal. But we want to hear from you, the casual viewer. Because, we're going to talk about 2 movies. Disney Plus definitely got some viewership this week from us. The Incredibles and Pirates of the Caribbean 1.
The initial one.
Bro.
I have a story I don't think I've ever told on this show about this movie.
I find that hard to believe.
I know.
I would assume in 100.
I was trying to find a trinket that I have, and I could not find it. What's that?
I would assume in 158 episodes that you would have shared every possible story imaginable.
You would think that.
I did. That's why I said I didn't.
But you would be wrong.
Well, I guess we'll find out. Won't we? Won't we now? So yes. So join us tonight. We're going to talk movies. If you've never joined us before, welcome. It's fun. It's casual. It's a good time. We should bring some people in. Yes.
Oh, there are people? Sure.
There are some people anxiously waiting.
If you want to be one of those people, eridanlive.com.
I did say that.
I'm saying it again because it's on the screen in case you didn't see it. But I'm going to take it off the screen so we can have our little intros.
All right. Well, let's do some little intros, shall we?
All right.
Look at this, dressed to impress. I have away the level of effort brought forth by the writers tonight on another level. Very impressive.
Yeah, we like pirates.
And you have your Incredibles shirt on. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Way to step up. I appreciate that. Reagan, of course, responsible for our movie choices tonight. So It's understandable that you'd be dressed in such fancy attire.
Yeah.
That's hardcore. That hat is hardcore.
Yeah, I bought it actually. So my very last day of high school, my friend picked me up early and we went to see the 5th movie, which I did not like. But that's besides the point. We went to see it and I dressed up in a kid's pirate costume and I bought this hat and I cut Jack Sparrow's hair out of it so that it would not get mixed up with mine. So yeah, just
Wait, are you saying it was a EriDan originally?
Yes.
Wow. And now, Wade, your hat's just goofy.
Yeah.
Favorite. You did there. Speaking of
I did there?
See, I dressed up like a superhero in hiding.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
he's in disguise.
Gazer Beam, are you?
No, Gazer Beam's dead. I don't want to be.
Oh,
wow. Spoilers.
Come on, Dave. You know better.
I would think so.
More like, actually, Gamma Jack would be more my style.
Wow. No case.
All right. Speaking of style.
My goodness, it's Brian.
Hey,
Look at that. How are you, sir?
doing good.
Yeah? How's your summer?
I don't know if you just heard that, but
The thunder.
yeah, they're shooting fireworks off right now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Better that than
think that was-
gunshots.
Don't
yeah.
know
Well,
it's
they
the
sound
third.
like shots. They're extremely loud. Just explosions.
that's
Is that your family or your neighbors?
No, it's actually quite a ways down the road at the cannabis store.
Oh,
I would do there.
Well-
Yeah, that makes sense.
I find it amusing.
The Canada store is celebrating 4th of July.
yeah.
No, cannabis.
Oh, that's a different store.
Different store. Yeah.
It's my old man hearing. Sorry about that.
Hey, at least
What?
The
it's
store?
not like cannons, you
Let me
know?
get some maple syrup and some moose heads.
Moose heads.
Some
Wait,
puta.
Brian, you got the cannons though, so that works.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's perfect, right?
Yeah.
Pirates.
Cannon bus. Yeah.
Ah.
Dad
Yeah.
joke.
Yay, Amanda's
Hello.
here. What's
Hello.
up? Zombie monkey.
Okay.
Well, Adam's already put a comment in,
Oh boy. Oh
and I
boy.
thought we were going to get some good results from Adam this week. Apparently not. Not going to lie. This double feature was underwhelming. One of the movies was meh, and the other was okay, but didn't hold up to my original viewing.
Yeah,
That's not
didn't hold
terrible.
up to
Topper-
didn't hold up to the high level of The Spy Who Shagged Me.
That's
Yeah.
our Super Troopers. So keep that in mind. That's where the bar is. I do have some conversation about watching one of the worst movies of all time.
Oh,
But that
boy.
was not one of our two movies. We will go to Reagan and ask where she would like to start the conversation. Which movie should we be doing first, Reagan?
Oh, I don't know. Both of them are fine. Like I don't have a preference. Let's just go in alphabetical order. We'll do, what is that?
The Incredibles.
All right.
Well,
then-
actually,
The Incredibles, The Pirates.
Original library.
No, that's all right. We will go Incredibles from 2004. Craig T. Nelson, Holly Hunter, and a ton
Nielsen.
of other people, coming together with this written and directed by Brad Bird. Budget of $92 million, worldwide gross $632 million. The critics praising the movie at 97. The audience, shockingly to me, coming in at 75. And I wonder if that's just over time.
Oh yeah, maybe.
I'm thinking.
Interesting. So Reagan, why The Incredibles? Were you just it, so you figured you might as well get some use out of it?
Yeah. I have too much, and I just had to pick. So the last double feature that I had done was actually Room and Shazam, and I had a lot of thought into like putting those two together and how I wanted them to balance each other out. And so for this one, I originally wanted Lilo and Stitch and then Point Break, and I thought that was too much. But I also in the Disney, it was like not gonna work. So in the Disney realm, I was like, as much as I love Lilo and Stitch, and I did have reasons for picking it, like that was the first one I saw in I remember seeing in the theater, like stuff like that. I was like, no, but we need another Disney movie that's really good. And I feel like The Incredibles is like universally, like a lot of people really like it. And I think that it's a good movie to watch. It's kind of actiony and there's just different things going on. So, and I've always enjoyed it. And it's not one that I have beat to death in my viewing. So I was like, yeah, we'll go for that one. So.
Excellent. Now, was this anybody's first time ever seeing The Incredibles?
Listen, the explosions are kind of appropriate for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
They don't really
Right.
make as much sense for Incredible.
They're my people in my town.
It's incredible.
They're extremely loud.
That's funny.
It's impressive.
So nobody's first time?
I guess nobody's first time. I would say probably my 71st time.
I have never missed a Pixar film other than some of the sequels. I've
Yeah.
never missed
Yeah.
an original Pixar film.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that up until the past few years, where I have not been.
Well, that's true. I haven't seen Lightyear yet. That is a good point.
Oh, I saw Lightyear.
I know you did. That's the only one I haven't seen.
Just leave that at that.
But isn't that technically a sequel?
I mean,
For a
it
prequel.
depends on how you define sequel.
Wait, is Lightyear
Spin-off, I think.
So we know that Buzz Lightyear, obviously, Toy Story, Pixar, but like, was Lightyear Disney or was Lightyear Pixar?
It was according to Wikipedia, it was Pixar.
Okay, I just wasn't sure. I hadn't thought about it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. To me, this movie works on so many different levels, right? Like this
Yes,
was a great.
Right.
This was to me when Pixar was really knocking them out of the park and giving
Yes.
movies that your kids were gonna love, but also the adults were gonna love when they went. and
Yeah,
saw
this
it.
was that incredible run they had for their first like 10 movies.
It wasn't
Yeah.
a run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this to me, like, there's just so much in this movie. It's so well done. I enjoyed the sort of retro feel at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah,
Flashback to the older superheroes. I mean, it's a little dark when
Yes.
it is. Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
super
there's a fair number of deaths in it.
syndrome. Buddy really took out quite a lot of superheroes, and they
Yeah.
kind of go through that quickly. But it's like, oh my gosh!
And,
So
and a lot of Syndrome's henchmen bite it too.
Right.
Yep.
They're crashing into cliffs. They're getting
oh yeah,
Rocks thrown at the
Yeah.
head. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
yeah.
Well, and then when he was going over like why you don't use Cape, it's because it will literally kill you. And talking about it, showing people who have just like getting sucked
wasn't just
into
a
like,
fashion choice.
Yeah.
That's one thing I noticed, which is even though it's a superhero movie and feels like a superhero movie, it also feels like a Bond movie. I mean, the
Yes.
scenes
Yeah.
like the spaceship when it's separating in space looked like it was taken right out of Moonraker.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was
Oh, and
just
the music,
the music,
for it.
Yes.
absolutely,
So
yeah.
along with
And the
it.
henchmen, all of the non-super henchmen
Yes.
that were around his lair, that was very
Mhm.
Bond-like.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And
Yep. Yep. Yep.
That's what all the elements, like Eric was talking about, those were all the elements that I liked as well. The retro feel, the retro-ish music, the black and white grainy newspaper and newsreels,
Yeah.
and the Bond experience, and just the music was
And
Bond.
Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, come
Oh
on.
my God.
Right.
Frozone, give me a break.
Oh.
Absolutely. the best.
Frozone was great.
I love Frozone.
Oh, he's my favorite. He's one of my favorites.
Oh,
I do
and don't forget Wallace Shawn as Gilbert Huff.
This is true.
I mean, that whole section with the insurance company,
Bro.
you know,
yeah.
it's a bit of a throwaway section. It isn't really needed for the movie,
Oh.
but it establishes Bob's character so well.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And as dark as this is, my favorite scene is when he's hounding Bob and hounding Bob and hounding Bob, and Bob just grabs him and throws him through a wall. I'm like, yes, thank you.
It's awfully dark for you, Stacey.
It is dark, but it's just so satisfying.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Sorry,
the
it's a
kid on the
work-related
tricycle?
thing. Sorry.
The kid on the tricycle who's always watching Bob when he comes home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Totally wicked.
Oh.
Oh my god.
That's something I like about it. There's so many things that are like weirdly relatable. You know what I mean? Like there's so many,
Yeah.
like she was just talking about like throwing the guy through the wall. Like we cannot lie and say that none of us have ever felt that way about somebody in our lives before. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's no way we haven't. And it's just so like there, and not even that part, but just like Violet. Like Violet has a crush on this guy. You know what I mean? And obviously I relate to that more than other people do, but more than some other people will do. But I just think even like Dash, like as the little brother, like, you know, there's just so many pieces to it where there's characters that at least somebody can relate to. And I think that it's really cool.
The scene where Bob is talking to Dash after he gets home from work, going, "They caught you on video and you still got away with
Yeah.
it." That's not
Right.
really.
Yeah.
This is not a good thing, Bob.
It's not? No. Oh.
Yeah. And even like the conversations, like there's no conversation where they're like, oh yeah, like she ordered waffles and I was like, why'd you do that? Like there's no like just basic conversations. There's like he starts monologuing and this guy's talking to me as if I give a crap. And it's just funny like to talk about like
You got me monologuing.
right, like there's stuff like that like are like cliches in superhero movies. Like even Shazam talks about that too, where he's like, I know you're talking to me, bro. I don't know what you're saying. Like they like it's like a thing that people just have always been like, oh, the villain comes on and he talks forever about his past and all this stuff. And it's like, I like that they're like picking fun at that, but that's the conversation that they're having. It's like a random part of the movie. It's just, I like stuff like that like nothing is really, there are some scenes that are shorter that like could have been cut out, but there's nothing that doesn't work, you know?
No, and it's not an excessively long movie either.
No.
It is slightly, parts of it are like the jungle at the end. I'm like, come on, get out of here. I started playing Free Cell for a little bit during that. But the rest of it, I'm good.
You're so easily distracted.
I am.
If you're a huge fan of this movie, down in Disney World in Florida, they've taken one of their hotels and rethemed the hotel with Incredibles theming at the Contemporary Resort. So if you're
What?
a fan, you could go to the Contemporary Resort, and it has subtle nods throughout the
I
resort.
have that bag.
So,
I have a Mode bag. That pillow, I have a black bag that Wade bought me in New York City. It says Mode.
Edna Mode, that's
And
awesome.
another thing that was great
Edna
is
Mode's
just
amazing.
Edna was great, but her look being such a clear homage to Edith Head was just so cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
She's funny. Yeah, I love Edna Mode.
Brittany wants to know
yeah.
he's here.
He's here.
Yeah, could try not to step in goose poop. And she said that Edna is the best.
I'm guessing by eating a funnel cake, she's at a fair of some sort.
Or maybe,
No, that's
you know,
You can't really just find funnel cakes.
Step and goose shit, that's.
They were at the school.
Yeah.
It's good.
I mean, this is a fun movie. This is for like all ages.
Yeah.
I will say, similar to the other movie that you chose, I feel like this was a disappointing sequel that resulted out of this movie.
Which one? Like you didn't like The Incredibles 2 as much?
I felt it was unfortunate for The Incredibles 2. They decided to remake Incredibles 1. That they're like,
Yeah, I agree with you. I wasn't a fan of the
let's
second
make
one
a
that
movie
much.
about how you can't be a superhero and how you'll go underground, but then somebody will offer to let you be a superhero, and then they'll turn out to be the villain.
I don't disagree with you, but it was still better than a lot of the Pixar sequels. Because
I agree.
Toy Story, they've not done well with sequels.
I mean, I got to watch them both this week, and it's not a bad movie, but it was an opportunity to do something original as this felt, right?
Yeah.
And it was just a retread of it was Force Awakens to Star Wars, right? It was just, you people like that storyline. Let's just do that again, but put the mom in the main role.
It's the kind of thing that's obvious if you watch them close together. But keep in mind, the movies were 14 years apart. And I think that's why they sort of thought they could get away with it.
Yes.
I just feel like I would enjoy, if they were going to do an Incredibles 3, I would enjoy an actual superhero movie that was about them being superheroes, not about them being allowed to be superheroes.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be a more interesting opportunity to do an actual superhero movie, using the family, right? I think there's a great opportunity there.
Exactly.
Did anybody watch the Jack Jack Attack short?
Oh,
Yes.
Not this time.
I did not.
Which it isn't great, but it is fun the way they dovetailed it with the answering machine messages in the movie.
yes.
Yeah.
That was really nicely done.
Yeah, I always like that.
Well, are we ready to throw some numbers around? We want to.
Oh my God, how's it 5:20 already? Or 9:20, whatever time you're in.
Let's fly. Let's do it.
The EriDan rating bot 6000 is now activated.
Calculating.
Let's do some.
Well, we have to start where we start.
Oh yeah, right to Reagan.
Oh
The
yeah.
picker.
Yep. So I don't know. This isn't one of my ultimate favorite Pixar movies. But I just really like this one a lot. I think that again with the music is like some of the best music besides Finding Nemo that they have in Pixar movies. Like I think and all of them are very great, but none of them really like get you. And I think that this one is just like wow, like that just really like lines up really, really well with the scenes and like the setup and like the time frame that they're in and like just all of that stuff. It's just really, really, really good. I think that I like a lot of the art style, and it's like very sharp, and it's like their houses are all kind of the same and just specific things like they just all kind of look very like cut right and like put together and everything. Even the characters are kind of built that way. We talked about like there's this like little I don't know. There's like little, not like Pixar and like Disney Easter eggs, but like little Easter eggs like in the movie. Like we were watching with the subtitles today. We've never done that before. And the island, what was that? The island was like, it was like no Manazan or something, where it's like no man is an island, which is cool. Like I just like all of those little pieces that get put together, like all these different things that I didn't really notice as much growing up because I was little, like I didn't need to, and and now like I was thinking there were kind of parts where I was like, oh, this is a little bit violent. Like we just watched this guy get bashed in the head with a rock, but, and as a kid I was like, yeah, you know what I mean. But I always enjoyed like a lot of the superhero stuff. I used to think that I was a superhero growing up and would jump off of stuff and try to run really fast and stuff like that. So this was one of those movies that I was like, oh yeah, that's me. Like, let's go. Like, that's how I was. So I don't know. I just have always loved it since I was little. And so I don't know. I think it's a 97 for me.
97. Very nice. Edna?
I do love this movie. I remember seeing the trailer for it at the drive-in and very excited because trailers sometimes do what they're supposed to do and suck you in. Yep. And one of the things that I liked about it too was the monorail on the island. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so Disney. And you got the good music playing and then I was like, this is a Disney film, and just pulling into something and looking down over things. I'm like, oh, this is good. Just nostalgia from a new cartoon. It's 14 years old, but that's what I got. Okay, thanks. But I just got nostalgia from it, and retro, all that stuff. So my score is a 97 as well.
Ooh, lot of love.
Wow, right now this is the #1 movie.
Wow. So
Wade.
Yeah, so I enjoyed. I mean, it was pretty. For a cartoon type thing, it was pretty original storyline to it. I kind of really remember vividly anything else being like that, where the superheroes aren't allowed to be superheroes, stuff like that. So it was pretty good that way too. And then all the, that was Pixar was fairly new then, and it was incredible how real it looked and everything. So, all right, I'm going to give it I'm going to give it a 92.
92. Still.
Shakes her head like, how dare you?
The betrayal.
Hold it off. The island is no man. Okay.
I will say that the first 10 Pixar movies was just one of the most incredible runs from any studio ever. It just there are no stumbles. Some are better than others. Bug's Life is probably toward the bottom of that list, but it's still a good movie. And they're all really good. And this, to me, rates probably about the middle of that 10, which is a huge compliment because those are such great movies. It is also the first Pixar film that really goes all out to portray real people. I mean, prior to this, you had a brief appearance in Toy Story. You had a little bit in Monsters, Inc. You had tiny bits, where they would have been on for a minute or so. There were humans on the screen for pretty much the entire movie. So they had to make a huge jump in their technology to get this to look as good as it did. Yeah. And the only time it didn't look good to me was when they were in the water.
Oh,
the hair in the water looked bad.
Yeah.
It didn't ruin the movie in any way for me, but it just looked bad. In 5 years, they would have gotten that right, but it didn't look great in this. Doesn't hurt the movie at all for me, though. Just an observation. I love superhero movies, and this is a superhero movie and a very good one. It also is a Bond movie in a way, as I said, and I loved Bond movies. So it just has everything going for it. I love the voice acting. I thought that Craig T. Nelson and Holly Hunter were just incredible. Brad Bird did an amazing job as Edna. Just all around. I really have no criticisms of it. So it's a 95 for me.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, speaking of the hair.
Wait a minute.
The girl from our church.
Yeah.
She did the logarithm to make Meredith's hair bounce and stuff during
and Brave,
and she got like an Oscar for it.
I remember there were articles about the hair in Brave because they had animators just for her hair.
Yes. She did some sort of physics equation or something like that to be able to get it to do what they needed to do. But yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember when I was looking at grad schools, one of the ones I was considering, UNC Chapel Hill, they talked a lot about how they had done work on hair physics that had gotten used in Tangled, because that was also one that had a lot of like innovation.
Wow. Interesting.
Well, since you're on, Amanda, you might as well give your score.
Oh, hi. Yeah, sure. So I like this movie a lot. I remember liking it. I haven't seen it in like over a decade, and I'm feeling just a little bit of like superhero movie burnout because they're like literally everywhere. And like I haven't watched any in the past few years. Like they're still good. I like them, but I was just like, oh, cool, animated superhero movie. Like, and I knew I liked it, but I was pleasantly surprised by how well it held up for me. I think, as we talked about, a lot of the side characters are really interesting and fun, and I think the pace kept up really well throughout most of the movie. I agree with Stacey that near the end in the jungle, I was getting a little bit like, okay, we can move on. But
get out of here now.
Yeah, but I did think that the way they used all of the characters' powers was really creative. Like having Violet go through her arc of trying to learn like having her her unable to do the force field when they're trying to escape the plane, so she has to turn into like a parachute, and then Dash has to like propel through the water, and then like I enjoy the progression of them learning how to use their powers well, and it's very satisfying. And then when she kind of like just like pops it out when the like plane's about to crash on their heads at the end. I don't know. I think it's the way they use the powers and the way they all come through is very fun. I don't think it's my favorite Pixar movie, but that's not saying much because there's a lot of really good Pixar movies. I'm going to give it a 92.
92. And Brittany gives it an 83 with a solid choice, she says. Solid choice. Brian?
It's been very quiet.
He's muted.
Because you never know when the cannons are going to go off. So,
name of your autobiography.
What was it?
That should be the name of your autobiography. You never know when the cannons are going.
Right. So I like this movie. I didn't watch it this time though, unfortunately. I don't know if I can still rate it. I will anyway, but like,
have you seen it more than once?
When my niece and nephew were kids, and I was helping raise them and everything, so that's probably why I didn't really feel like watching it this time, like a lot. You know how the movies just continually watch, yeah. But I'll still give it an 85. So.
All right. Well, if you've seen it more than once, I think that counts.
Sounds like you've seen it a little bit more than once. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it's something you saw, I saw it one time when it came out, you might need to watch it again. I did see it when it came out, and I actually thought it was better. I'm the opposite of Adam. My memory of it was, I was like, oh, it's so formulaic. And then I watched, I was like, oh, I like this. This was kind of fresh, and I enjoyed it. So I'm going to be in the 90 club. But only just a solid 91 is my
91
number.
From Dan. Oh, wait.
We don't have Adam's score yet.
That's all right.
Off the first column, but wow, Eric.
I know. I know. Well, I let her in. That was my mistake.
You lit her in?
I lit her in. You want to say something? Okay. I mean, obviously, this is a great movie. I think we are inevitably going to get an Incredibles 3. Incredibles 2 made $1.2 billion. I would be shocked if they aren't going to make a 3. I think I was sort of in that Dan realm where I'm like, how much do I feel like watching The Incredibles? I'm like, it's good, but I'm really, it's never my go-to. But watching it, it's like, I don't know why it's not one of my go-tos.
Right.
It's like, this should definitely be one of my top 127 movies of all time or whatever.
Right.
And so it's great to me. I think it's nice that it's not trying to be close to 2 hours long. I feel like it is a super easy watch. It's got a huge audience potential for it, right?
Yeah.
It is, there's no reason that people at any age should not be able to watch this and enjoy this and have a good time with it. So I'm at the 93. I agree with the animation style. Every once in a while pulls me out of it. I agree with the hair. Every once in a while I feel like it looks overly computer generated meme Shrek worthy, but not to a point where it takes me out of it 100%. And the story is so good and the acting is so good. Yeah, I mean, it's a delicious treat for the eyes and the soul.
And what was your number?
93.
93. Now, Adam's starting a little bit of controversy here. He's upset. Well, I'll go this first. He almost deducted more points for not reading his comments. We haven't gotten to you yet, Adam. Yeah. You just posted your score. I was waiting for your score to be posted. We did.
The last comment we have from you.
We did say that one, but there's another one where you said Edna got on my nerves on the point of annoying and got the point of annoying. And now we'll go to your score. It was a paint by numbers superhero movie. I disagree with his original story. Edna and Jack, I couldn't stand. Iron Giant was way better. Was a way better Brad Bird movie. Lower tier Pixar movie, 41.
Jack wasn't in the movie that much for this.
No, I was gonna say I don't. Yeah.
So at least that shouldn't have impacted it too negatively.
Yeah. See, I don't think it was as cookie cutter as most superhero movies, but going into it, I thought that
overly predictable.
Don't forget John Ratzenberger as the Underminer.
Yes, absolutely right. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, if you watch it, I mean, the problem is I think it is one of those things where, it doesn't waste. There's not a lot of time wasted in this movie. Like, it's like this first mission, you get Buddy, you get the accident that starts, starts the thing of superheroes becoming, illegal. So if you know the story, you're like, oh man, this all happens so fast because just boom, boom, boom. And there's Buddy. And then that, of course, is going to be the evil guy coming up in 25 minutes. I think once you see it, it's predictable, but anything after you've seen it once becomes predictable when you watch it.
Yes.
So I feel like I feel on first viewing, it doesn't feel as predictable as maybe it does on repeat viewings.
I mean, they were sort of presaging the Sokovia,
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. Excellent. All right, are we moving on? Let's move on, shall we? Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
They made almost the exact same amount of money.
They did. They made a very similar amount of money, although this one cost $140 million versus 92 for The Incredibles. Johnny Depp, Jeffrey Rush, Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley, Zoe Saldana, who eventually ends up, becoming Gamora. So you got a lot of great people. Critics at an 80%, audience at an 86% for Pirates of the Caribbean. Reagan, besides the fact that you already own the hat, that you decided that this was the greatest movie of all time for us to watch?
Yeah. No, I've always loved Pirates. I don't know why. It's just always been like a movie in our house. Like, I watched a lot of movies growing up. My family, like my dad would watch with me, but like my mom and then like my siblings, like we were not like movie family, like family movie people. But this was one that we like all watched together a lot. And then like the second one came out and like it was kind of like a middleman. But the third one is like it's so good. And then like the fourth one is it's not the same, but it's still good. And I don't talk about the fifth. But there's just the first one. So yeah, I just can't. No, there was too much going on with that one. But it wasn't written by Ted Elliott, and immediately the second the movie started, nothing even was said. I was like, nope, we gotta leave. Like I watched the whole movie, but I was like, this is not the same guy. So it's just something that I have like watched so much that I can just like pick it out. Like I just know. And so this movie is one that like I always was like, I think this movie kickstarted me jumping off of things because, well, maybe not, but to me, because they were like swinging off of like pirate ships and all this stuff. And they were all like punching each other, like all these things I just loved. And I'm just like the stories, like I loved Elizabeth Swann. I loved Will Turner. First crush was Will Turner. Like all of these things that just were so much part of me growing up. And like we went to the drive-in to see these movies. Like there's just so much of it for that reason. I think not only is it a really great movie, but there is a lot of like, I grew up watching it. We would go to Disney, we skip the fireworks, we go to Pirates. Like that's what we do. So like this is so much part of not only my childhood, but just growing up in general. So Yeah. But I had to start with number one, you know?
Oh, absolutely. We definitely have to start with number one. Absolutely. Now, was this anybody's first time? I'm guessing no. For Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, to me, this movie should not have been a good movie. It was based on a ride, a boat ride.
Yeah.
A theme park, right?
Which is always our favorite.
Haunted Mansion, fantastic horror.
Yeah, that's a bad movie though. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It could have easily been Haunted Mansion, but with Eddie Murphy. But Johnny Depp's
or Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
Which I think was Steve Guttenberg and the Olsen twins.
I didn't know there was a Tower of Terror.
I think there was.
I don't think it's on Disney Plus.
I don't think it's anywhere.
No. So the interesting thing is, so I had a little extra time this week, so I was able to watch all 5 of these.
Wow.
I'm proud of you.
Quality binge. Wow.
Honestly, it didn't feel as it wasn't watching them as a big series like that. Did not the drop off was not as noticeable to me as they were separated years apart from each other.
Right.
It's
obviously
it's a fun series, but there's nothing as good as the first one.
No.
You mentioned that it's based on a ride. I remember going on the ride in 1986 with my dad in California at Disneyland, and neither of us, I'm sure my mom will comment, neither of us are like, let's say thrill seekers.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, we're very laid back, and we're sitting in the front of the little boat, and it comes off to the edge, and we're like, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. And then all of a sudden, and we both like, shit, the whole way down.
Disneyland is.
It's the Disneyland one's pretty.
Right? Is it like like Splash Mountain, or is it kind of like in the middle?
It's kind of in the middle.
Oh
no!
No.
It's not
Oh my gosh!
Nothing.
It's dark, and we didn't know anything was going to happen.
It's like a 6-foot drop, but you're in the complete darkness, so you don't know how big a drop it's going to be.
The best.
Wow.
And from that moment,
I'd say it's more of a 10-foot drop in California.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Wow.
That's
and
like.
then I got here's the other story. That wasn't the story. I have this watch that I got. I went to a screening. The movie was not done yet. This was the screening for Disney employees and cast and crew. And the producer, Jerry Bruckheimer, was sitting right in front of me. And he's a tiny little guy with red hair. And they gave us all, and some of the scenes weren't done yet. So there were storyboards for some of the scenes.
That's fun.
And there were some of it was in color corrected, some was in black and white. So it's kind of cool to see that. But they gave everybody that attended a watch. And I've been looking on eBay to see if I've ever seen one of these, and I haven't. So it might be very valuable.
Maybe.
So I might have to give it away or put it on eBay.
There you go.
I have to find it first. That's the other thing.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Almost a 14-foot drop.
Oh, wow.
Okay, see?
That's intense.
And how is it in Florida? Do you know what the drop is in Florida? Because there is
Florida's
a slight
much less. Because I went on the one in Florida when I lived there, and I wasn't that.
No,
I didn't
it's
crash
not
my
big.
pants.
It's just a little bit. Yeah, but Pirates of the Caribbean, the ride is
the same
my dad's,
size drop. It's the same.
It's my
size.
dad's favorite ride ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because when we were little, and the first time we went, and it just everything, the animatrons look so real. I mean, for Disney, because it's Disney, and the hair on the legs of the pirate, and it was just. And seriously, that was the stuff we would just go through. Like, it was fantastic. And watching my dad see this ride tickles me. And this movie, like Reagan said, we grew up. It wasn't just the 5 of us. And actually, Kent wasn't even born when it came out.
Yeah.
It was my parents.
Yeah, and they don't like a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, my mom. But,
Hap does.
This movie, it's a family movie for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are fans of the Pirates.
My mom bought this movie, and when she got it, she got the authentic from the major motion picture. And I have obtained it. It hides in a little bowl in my living room.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, now you told them.
Now it's gonna be gone.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And. Oh, there you go. Oh, there we go. Wow.
She calls it Potik.
Oh my gosh, that's
Stop. That's so cool.
That's amazing, Brittany.
And that was just last year.
I love
Probably
that.
was.
Jack
Did you
Sparrow
have
will turn her on the cakes.
Aw, that's so
She's gonna
good.
find some pictures and share them.
Oh my gosh, yes, I would love to see pictures of
And
that.
Adam says
Yes.
Jeffrey Rush was so good in this. Yes, Adam.
Yes, Adam, he
Mhm.
is.
Yeah, Jeff
makes this
Barbosa's
movie.
one of my favorite characters.
Yes.
Get rid of the Will
So you-
Elizabeth stuff.
Do you want
yeah.
the 5th movie, huh?
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Okay, go to
There
number
you
5.
That's what they tried to do and killed the whole thing.
Yeah.
They have added Jack Sparrow to the rides.
Yeah.
Both
Too
Florida
much.
and
Too many
California.
times.
That's a terrible rendition of Jack Sparrow.
He's
Yeah.
overdone. He is overdone in the ride.
A little bit. I really love whenever Johnny goes. I'm pretty sure it's only been in California, but he goes and he stands there. And well, he talked about it too. It makes me really sad because he says like people just like he says all I see are smartphones. But it's so cool. Like, can you imagine like going on Pirates and then he's standing there? Like,
For
I
real.
would probably be like, is that real? Like this, I can't. Like, it'd be so cool.
Well, now I mean,
Brittany also says
there's so many guys that are good pirate Jack Sparrows,
Yeah.
lookalikes. It'd be hard to tell.
Done in Disney. Yeah.
Brittany says she can't stay longer because she's got to get her kid to nap before the fireworks show.
Mm-hmm.
So someone let her know for next week. Pirates is a 99 from her.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in high school, because this came out when I was in high school, and a couple years later, we ended up doing a Pirates of the Caribbean medley in wind ensemble for band.
Ooh.
Which I remember being really good, and now I still at this point I have the first 3 piano books and
Yes!
play through them semi-regularly.
That's
So
so
I love the
cool.
music from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
It's very-
She listens to it in her car.
I do.
She drives to it.
Yeah, I do.
It's good
Sometimes-
driving. Yeah, it's
Oh,
very
that's aggressive driving.
It is
It is
aggressive.
aggressive.
Roll
Yeah.
down windows and fires cannons out of them.
Kent doesn't like to ride with me anymore.
Yeah,
You
that's
never do.
No, I have this one saved. Like I bought it. Like I definitely I have it.
Yeah, I think I have the physical CD for the first movie at least. I don't know about the other.
I think that I did. I don't remember if I do.
Yeah.
I
I do really like the central plot of this movie. I think the cursed treasure zombie pirate thing is actually really interesting as like a
Yes.
plot line.
Yeah.
As much as I'm not generally like a big zombie fan, I think it's like a very
Right.
clever like
Mhm.
idea, and then they get to do the twists around the end where Jack steals a treasure, and so he's now also immortal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, that is one of the greatest moments.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He
It's so
gets
cool.
stabbed and goes back into the light. That is a fantastic moment in this movie.
Yeah. Well, and I love like just the action sequences because a lot of them are like, I mean, they're normal for pirates, obviously. This is what they do. But I like the sword fights are awesome. Like I used to want to fence so bad. Wait a second.
Oh, she's going to go get her sword.
Oh no.
Yes. I had to take all swords out of the house.
I have this. Okay. This
Oh,
is
nice.
this
Nice.
is what I want. I wanted to fence so bad, but Blackhawk does not have a fencing team. So get on that. But that's like that. I just every single part of it was just like
Oh, that's so cool.
Pirates of the Caribbean, a high school band. That's fantastic.
That'd be a great halftime show. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
That
that's
also
a
says-
phenomenon.
Real quick, Adam just says by number 5, the dynamic between Jack and Barbosa was not the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know
5
why?
sucked.
Because it was written by a totally different guy who
Mm-hmm.
has no idea what he's doing. I will call this man and be like, "What'd you do?" Like I will literally I was so upset. I will not see the 6th one unless it is written by the same people.
Well,
Like,
the
I
story was still by Ted or Jeff.
Well,
oh no, I
yeah.
guess it's a totally different person. Never mind, different
it's
person.
totally it's like Jeff Nathanson or something or something
Jeff
like that.
Nathanson and Terry Rosio did the story. Terry Rosio did the story of all of them, and he was
Yeah.
a co-writer of the first 4, and then Jeff
Man, you could
Nathanson
tell.
was
I
the
don't know.
screenwriter.
It just wasn't right, and I just knew immediately. I was just kind of like,
She even knew the
What is
cinematographer was
this?
different as soon as it started.
well, they were kind of for a bunch throughout, but it was just very not correct. And I
Well,
was
this
upset.
guy wrote Speed 2, Cruise Control,
Oh,
Rush
no.
Hour 2,
Oh,
Rush Hour
Get up.
3, but he also wrote Catch Me If You Can, The Terminal, Indiana Jones, The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, that's another bad one.
Yeah.
The Lion King.
The live action Lion King.
And he's got one coming out called Young Women in the Sea.
Oh, okay.
And he also has next year's Mufasa, the Lion King.
Oh, he's got a thing for mermaids, is what you're saying.
He's got a thing for sequels, it sounds like.
Yes,
So, yeah, that's what
he's the Ted McGinley of screenwriters. They bring him in late in the process.
Yeah, I guess.
Happy
It
Days
was a
show.
bad move. I was not impressed. I think a lot of people don't like the fourth one either. And I understand that. I think that it was kind of made the same way. So it's still like, I still enjoy it, but it's not nearly like the same caliber as the other three. And I think for me, I think the third one is one of my favorite ones if I'm like looking to like sit in front of the TV for a long time, but in a good way, not a negative way. But this one is just so like, there's just so much to it that like, it just sets it up really, really well. The characters you actually like for the most part. I mean, you're always going to have like one or two that you're like, I could deal without. And they're pirates, obviously. But then they have the two pirates that are like the comic relief, and then they have the two like the two guys like on the boat that are for the comic relief. Like they have these people that are like placed to make it not super heavy, but then like there are heavy moments, and as the movies go down, obviously they get a little bit heavier, but it's just there's just so much of this one that is like fun and enjoyable, but also serious and like just really interesting.
Adam, I agree with you completely.
Yeah,
no Pirates without Johnny Depp, and they should have stopped.
Yeah,
the fourth one was.
Or they should just have, I mean,
I don't know. I feel that.
I mean, look at whether it's
could be explored with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the problem is, I feel like they got very used to going back to the same well because
it's just so easy to
just going to rely.
Yeah, it's so easy to do that, especially when you're making money as fast as you can. I mean, just put out the movie and you make a few $100 million. Put out a movie, you make a few $100 million. I mean, it's hard to keep. It's hard to not do it.
Johnny's performance on this obviously was amazing, but I think the subsequent movies relied so heavily on his performance.
Yes,
that they didn't build up enough other characters that would match.
Yeah,
I agree.
So it became very heavy, relied on Jack Sparrow. And I feel like the first movie is more balanced. You get a story from Elizabeth Swann. You get a lot of, you're not all Jack Sparrow all the time. And I feel like that's kind of the problems with some of the other movies where the scenes without Jack Sparrow in it are the weakest scenes.
Yeah.
I feel like in this movie, it's strong all the way through. It's so enjoyable and captivating. And I mean, I've seen this movie, a dozen times or more. And it still to me is I don't need a distraction. I don't need to be, playing Minesweeper. I'm good.
Right.
Yeah.
It's got me. And you pick up little things all the time through it about how excellent it is, and I feel like the effects more than hold up still. It doesn't pull me out at all.
Yeah.
I appreciated that the fiance character, you should marry this guy, was like not also just like super evil, which you often get in these movies. It's like she's supposed to marry this guy, but he's so mean and evil.
Hang him! He's interfering with my romance. Hang him!
Yeah, it's
right.
Obviously he's like wants to get pirates, and like that's very understandable because pirates are like raiding their towns. But at the end, he's like fairly reasonable and doesn't otherwise seem like a terrible person, which I appreciate.
Yeah, you're right. Like, and he even throughout the next movies, like he's not.
So Adam is recasting for Seven as Jane Sparrow, played by Margot Robbie. No, I don't think he's. I
don't know.
I think that's his fear that we were getting.
I've seen like fan arts of that before, but
she's so much.
I think if you would have to, it would be. You would have, if you were going to remake a movie without Johnny Depp in it, you would have to leave all of this storyline behind.
Yeah,
and you would have to. You could not have a main character that was like Jack Sparrow. You couldn't.
Right. The better way to do it would be like they've done multiple times with Spider-Man. Just reboot it. Don't continue to.
Yeah, I was like, don't make it a number 6 if you're not going to use it. I feel like you would have to make it a spin-off or some other sort of thing.
But who would you want to see anybody else doing a bad Jack Sparrow impersonation?
Well, Depp's also getting a little old to be Jack Sparrow.
Well, I don't know.
It's okay. Pirates got old.
They're looking at making a prequel with him.
I mean, he's doing an impression of Keith Richards.
Yeah, Keith Richards is in the fourth one, being a super old pirate.
Yeah.
I don't know. Johnny
I
Depp
think
still
you would
pretty
get
good.
Jack Sparrow in it in some way, no matter what. You know, they're not going to not have Jack Sparrow appear in a
Right. And I'm sure they'd have like little pieces for the other ones.
So you're saying like across the Sparrowverse?
Yes.
There you go.
I don't know. There's
with the AI, they could just, you know,
that's true.
Yeah, make these for decades
and
to come.
AI Jack Sparrow. Yeah, that'd be
Yes,
great.
exactly, right?
That'd be
Totally, totally foreseeable.
Shall we score?
Yeah, yes, we should.
I think we should.
Do it.
Oh, you don't have to play the thing again.
I don't usually hear it.
That's it. That's it.
Reagan.
Time is precious.
Yeah. So I
Points for the hat.
obviously really love this movie. I really just there's just so much about it that I obviously like. I've already explained a little bit. The music, everything. Even the length was okay based on the story. Like there wasn't any parts of it that are actually like, okay, this is too long. Let's go. Like, I mean, at least not for me. And I don't think for a lot of people. I, again, loved Elizabeth. She was my favorite character. So like Johnny Depp, awesome. I love Jack Sparrow, but Elizabeth was the one that I really connected with. And I loved her and I loved Will Turner and just their story and stuff. And I liked it because I don't like romances, but I love that it wasn't like the number one thing in the movie. And that's what made me really love them together. And I liked them as characters separately too. And there's just so much pieces of it that I just really love. Barbosa is amazing. I love Mr. Gibbs, like all these people. So yeah, there's so much more that I could say about it and more details, but I think it's a 99 for me.
99. So we've got two 99s. Now this currently is the highest.
That would be correct if we stop
movie
now.
ever at 99.
If we stop now,
we just stop after
Wade.
Oh, me? Okay.
Goofy
yeah,
Wade.
I really enjoy it, and it just kind of blows my mind how they take the Disney World ride and they made a movie
that was actually good.
It's kind of original in a way, definitely. I mean, it's got a really interesting storyline to it and everything, and then all the characters or the actors were really good in it. So I'm going to give it. I'll give it a 96.
Stacy.
Wade bringing up the ride again, and this movie is the one that brought in a lot of the characters from the ride. The girl in red was there. I don't know that Barbosa was in the original, but
song.
The guys in the jail with the dog, all of that. That's the stuff that I remember from 1977, 78 when I first went. And, you know, this movie just hit all the buttons for me. And I've been hemming and hawing about what I might give it. And I've decided it is definitely a 100 for me because this is one movie I will watch over and over again.
Nice.
Is this your first 100?
I don't know.
Stacy's first 100.
Is it?
Wow. I think so.
See, can we change mine to 100? Because I was going to do it.
Yeah,
I didn't want to be that guy.
Do it. Do it. There it is.
All right.
100 for me.
Nice.
Wow. Brian.
All right.
Brian, as we call you now.
I guess they just keep doing them, so I keep like I thought that I might be able to like talk, but then they started shooting them off again. But I saved everything until the end, I guess. So the one scene, I don't think we talked about it. I really love. It's like really heavily animated, but like when they're walking underwater.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they turn into zombies. I just always love that. I don't know why.
Me too.
I loved it. And Elizabeth is not my favorite character.
Sad day.
But I really like Will Turner. I think he's my favorite in the movie. Who else? Obviously Jack Sparrow. He's good. And yeah, like I liked the curse and everything. I just remember like loving this movie a lot when it first came out. Like I do agree that they kind of got worse. I barely remember the fourth one. What was like how were they trying to live forever for that one? Like
Oh, it was like the Fountain of Youth. It was Penelope Cruz.
Fountain of Youth.
Yeah, they were shooting the Fountain of Youth.
But yeah, I think I watched the 5th one, but I'm not even sure. So,
obviously had a dramatic impact in your life. So.
I'm gonna mute myself.
What was your score?
97. Oh, right? 97.
All right,
97.
Brian, wow.
Amanda.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to think. I was looking at pictures of the 4th one to see if I had seen it, and I don't think I have, but I'm not sure. I know I've seen the first 3, but I don't think I've seen 4 or 5. So I really like this movie. The music obviously has a special place in my heart, so I tend to think very favorably of this one. I think part of why the romance doesn't feel kind of overbearing in this one is that they kind of already like knew each other and liked each other when the movie started, so there wasn't sort of like a building like, oh, Will and Elizabeth, will they, won't they? It's like, no, we know they like each other, like, and
right.
not a lot of time devoted for them like staring at each other longingly across the pirate ship, which is nice. I also like that, like, because at the beginning you're like, the pirates are so evil and they're raiding this town, and they're never good guys, but I appreciate that there's no one in the movie who's just like straight up evil for the sake of being evil. Like, they've been like cursed with immortality. Like, you can kind of understand why like they'll do literally anything to get the final piece of the treasure, and like it's kind of, and even like the Navy people aren't super evil, they're just trying to stop the pirates, which also is understandable. I think the plot really fits together really nicely with finding the medallion at the beginning, and then that kind of setting off the whole chain of events, and kind of, I don't know, I really think the plot of this movie and the visuals with the pirates, with the fighting in the moonlight and them kind of switching between being zombies and being fleshy pirates is really cool. So yeah, I think this is just a really good movie. I'm going to give it a 95.
Nice. Fleshy Pirates. That's Eric's
I like
band. That's his band name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I really like this movie, but I do not have the love for it that the people who preceded me did. It's a good swashbuckler. It is. And I love swashbucklers. I think my problem with it, and it's weird, I don't know why, for the reason it doesn't quite work as well as it should for me, is it's an old-fashioned swashbuckler with a fantasy element grafted to it. And for some reason, I kept wanting it just to be a good old-fashioned swashbuckler, which is my prejudice. You know, it's nothing to do with the criticism of the movie per se. It's just, that's what I love. You know, the old Tyrone Power, you know, the old Treasure Island, Seahawk, Captain Blood. I loved those movies. And this is almost one of those movies. So, but I really like it. I don't really have any serious criticism of it. My only criticism of it is it just didn't resonate with me as much as it did with some of the people who came before me. But it's still a very solid movie, and I give it an 85.
85. Staying alive with 85. And I texted my mom. She didn't watch the movies this week, so we have I'm the only Rosenberg represented.
You're also very short.
What a responsibility.
I know.
He is really short tonight.
This chair.
Dan is naked from the nipples down.
Something moved.
He's naked from the neck up. No, he's not actually. He has a hat on. But...
yeah, I like this movie. Again, I think, you know, I think the Teacups would be a horrible movie.
Yes.
Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Yeah.
Mr. Toad was a movie.
That was a movie.
And so was
animated, not Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
The Admission Booth, horrible movie.
Here you go.
Annual Pass, not a bad movie.
Train.
Yeah, they'll just keep making whatever they can. This one worked. I think it was very well done, obviously, and I agree with pretty much everybody said. You know, and 3 is probably enough. A trilogy is nice. What do you call 5? Quintuple? I don't know what it's called. Anyway.
Tetralogy?
I'm going to give it a 92 for me.
92 from Dan Rosenberg.
What does Eric Sheemer have to say?
You know what? I don't think I could watch this movie enough. I feel like, at the end of my life, I'll be like, why don't I watch Pirates one more time? It's a great, enjoyable movie. There are just endlessly fun moments. It's a great ride. I remember, like, when I saw it, it was like, everybody needs to see this movie. I just ended up in a 98. I just think it's fantastic, and I feel like it's to me, it's like it's an iconic movie, right? Like it's one of those you know what, like it's one of those movies where you're shocked if people haven't seen it, right? This is part of our culture, is this movie. And yeah, it's just endless fun. A fantastic score, amazing casting. You know, it just all felt fresh and great from beginning to end. So yeah, 98 from me.
That's your fantastic score.
What?
You said it had a fantastic score.
Yeah. I see.
Dan's next stand-up is coming soon.
I guess.
Wow.
I do have to get on the road.
Okay. A little late.
Adam, here's Adam's score. 2 great performances in this movie. Having said that, the romance part of the movie was blah, and I agree with Dave. The fantasy elements was meh. 70.
Not bad.
That's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
An Adam 70 is like an 82.
You can pass college with that, man. You can pass college.
Or maybe
with
a 90. Maybe 100. So there we go. Brittany gave it a 99. So that right there puts that's a first column for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like everybody's gonna be okay with the way that this all
when the lowest score is a 70, that's a loved movie.
Yeah, that is a movie that is obviously beloved by most people, and we only have to look at one screen to see the Pirates of the Caribbean coming in.
Very nice.
Beating out Saving Private Ryan. Sorry, Ryan.
It shouldn't have beat Spinal Tap. Okay.
Still being beat out by Room by just a little bit. But in the middle of the second column, you've got The Incredibles. So excellent choices coming in from Reagan. Nice job. How about that?
Pick good ones finally.
Speaking of picking, we now have to pick next week's film.
We do.
Just one, though.
Just one.
One.
No TV show, just one movie.
All right. Well, see, we should probably do that, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know how this goes. All right, I'm gonna shuffle.
That was Costello album.
Say what now?
To call
All
back.
right, we are shuffled, and we are spinning. Our chooser for next week, which will be July 10th, is gonna go to Adam.
Yeah. Congratulations,
Adam.
Oh, Adam.
Wow,
Super Troopers 3.
Oh gosh. Now I am curious because Adam's last comment saying that he said that the romance part was blah. I'm wondering if there's any movie for him where the romance part isn't blah.
No, he doesn't like romance.
What's his highest rated movie that you could call a romance from Adam?
That has any romantic element.
Yeah, that has any romantic content whatsoever.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Psycho?
I guess you could say Star Wars.
All right. Well, we'll give Adam a minute to make it.
As we say every week, always be prepared. Nothing.
Say what now? Say what?
I don't know what movie I would have picked either, so I'm making fun of Adam.
Oh, I have a list, so but in the meantime, we can all celebrate the 4th of July.
Actually, that's right. He gave 90 to the Rocket.
She's my Yankee Doodle joy. Oh, Yankee Doodle went to London just to ride up. For me, I am a Yankee Doodle boy.
That actually goes on for 3 minutes. So I'm
and that's also the that's when Susan Olsen didn't want to be involved, so it's a fake Cindy Brady.
No, she was right. That was her. It was Jan was wrong.
Oh, was it Jan wrong?
Because they didn't want to do it.
Yeah. Eve Plum was not on there.
I also mentioned yeah, if you look at the spreadsheet, Adam gave 90 to The Rocketeer, which has a fairly strong romantic element.
Yeah.
He says there is hardly enough one romantic comedy I do like.
John
Woo.
Notting Hill.
Notting.
Shaft. Shut your mouth.
Dirty Harry.
Saving Private Ryan.
Das Boot.
Gunga Din.
Smokey and the Bandit. There's a little romance.
There's a romance in that.
God,
one.
please nobody ever pick that, please.
Oh,
DJ and the Bear.
Oh,
that's totally on my list.
Is it
Adam.
really?
Oh yeah, 100%.
No, do
I didn't know
BJ and
you
the
liked
Bear
that
first.
movie. That's funny.
That's a
He
TV
did
show.
have the best car, man. Oh man, that was.
I
good.
love Smokey and the Bandit.
That's so funny.
How about Any Which Way But Loose?
And then any which
Between
way you
Clint
can.
Eastwood and the orangutan.
Oh, any which way.
Any which way but
My list is
loose.
appalling.
Well,
I
yes,
remember
we've
we
seen
went and
some of
saw-
the movies from it.
We went and saw one of those movies, Any Which Way, because there was two of them, right? Any Which Way You
Yeah.
Can, Any Which Way But Loose.
Yeah.
And my mom covered my eyes at one point because there was something going on sexually.
Oh, something Stacy would not approve of.
And I said, and she I just remember her like, I'm like, what? And I looked, and once I looked, she stopped because I'm not looking at the screen, and she said, oh, there's something on your face, or something like that.
Nice.
Like, how could you
You
see
got a little
that?
schmutz right here.
Oh wait,
Uh-oh.
Scott's here. He's with his mom.
Oh man.
84 for Pirates, 96 for Incredibles. Oh, that changes things a little bit.
It
Oh,
does.
no.
Nice.
Good job, Scott. Good job. Bringing it down.
I forgot to take a picture of the guy who was beside me on the airplane yesterday. It looked like Scott.
Well, his scores are within one of mine on both of them.
All right, let me see. I gotta do some math now. Hold on.
That'll bring up the Incredibles and bring
Now-
down the Pirates, won't it?
Yep.
What do you guys think of when somebody says I'm with mom instead of I'm with my mom?
That he's with his mom.
Yeah, I
She's
think.
all of our mom.
Whoa.
Yeah, but should you say I'm with my mom or I'm with mom?
I think they're both understandable.
Yeah,
Was
I
it
don't think there's a lot of
capitalized?
ambiguity.
It
Did
is
he cap-
capitalized.
Then he did the right thing. He named her.
Oh,
Grammar.
See, I would say I'm with Sue Rosenberg.
wow.
It'd be weird if Scott said that though. So
That was
Yeah, because his mom's name is Sue Rosenberg. I think if I'm not mistaken, his
all
mom's
right.
name is
So,
name is Jesse, which makes him Jesse's
The
boy.
mom formerly known as Sue Rosenberg.
thanks to Scott, The Incredibles gets quite the jump.
Ooh.
Wait, what?
Oh, he is with never mind.
No, he's not.
Wow.
Pirates
He's not with
slips one below Saving Private Ryan.
Aw.
But
Still
The
top 10.
Incredibles takes quite a jump up,
Yeah, wow.
Wow.
beating out Fargo and Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
Almost to Shazam.
That's your vote matters.
Yeah. See how important voting is?
It's true. It's true. So there we go. I feel even more comfortable.
What's the next movie that's going to fall off column one when we get another column one movie? What fell off this week?
Nightmare Before Christmas?
Oh, okay.
Off column one. Jumanji would be the next one to fall off column one.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Is that also you, Reagan?
Which one?
The old
For
Jumanji.
Christmas?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
No, I've never seen that. Still haven't.
Who's
It
that
wasn't-
girl is still securely in last place. In case anybody was worried.
And Howard
was
the Duck is
concerned,
very
but-
happy about that.
Yeah, that's what makes me laugh is that it's worse than Howard the Duck.
I agree.
Columbus and Jingle All the Way slipped to the third page,
Sad.
which I do not
Yes.
agree with.
Yeah,
Columbus.
if we watched them
I
both
disagree with
together.
Columbus.
Jingle All the Way was better than I thought it was going to be. I was like, okay.
I don't mind it being on a lower page, although the final
No.
sequence was fun.
Adam knows he was picked, right?
He does.
Yeah, he said it's gonna take a minute.
It's going to take a minute, and I don't think he was
Okay.
literal about
Let's
minutes.
talk
Oh, I
about
see it. There
what
it is.
else you've
Yep,
been
I see it
watching.
now.
We took a moment to watch the latest installment of the Fast and the Furious franchise. And let me tell you that I would rather watch Super Troopers than watch that again.
Oh,
Well,
well,
talk about a movie franchise running on fumes, literally.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
this was the worst piece of cinema I've seen in quite some
You
time.
didn't like Brie Larson?
I was excited. I mean, this is the problem. This is the point. They have great actors in this movie, and everybody's there cashing in, right? So they're like, oh, we can get Charlize Theron in here. We can bring
Yeah.
in everybody we want, right? And I'm like, oh, well, this might be interesting. No, there's just so many huge plot points and problems where you're like, but what about the thing and the other thing and the other thing? And along with that, we watched Glass. If you've ever seen Glass, which is the third series of the Unbreakable split.
Oh, Yeah, I loved Unbreakable,
Yes.
and I thought that what was the second movie?
James McAvoy in Split. I mean, his
Split.
performance.
And Split, while not as compelling to me as Unbreakable, is still a really good movie.
Correct.
And McAvoy is incredible in it.
Yes, he is.
And
he's
Glass
good in
was
Glass.
so disappointing.
Oh my
Glass
God.
was awful.
Yes,
Oh.
Glass is terrible. M. Night Shyamalan should just stop.
Well, he
should.
never did 2 good movies in a row. I mean, he's odd.
Adam has them. I can't remember if we
Well,
watched
tell
it
us
already.
what it is, and we can tell
Throw
you.
it out. We'll check it.
Super Troopers.
I
Incredibles.
started watching something over my little trip, and it's just crap TV. But you catch it on one plane, you got to catch
That's
it
my
again.
favorite network.
To Catch a Smuggler.
Oh.
Homeland Security officers work to stem the flow of illegal
Oh, we
contraband.
have not watched this.
It is so good. You can't stop watching.
I like
What is it
Adam.
on?
Adam has a good choice. Yeah, I was considering picking that one when I got chosen, so that's nice that I have to do
I
that.
think we watched that.
Wow.
All right, I'm gonna watch it, but like, I am gonna fast forward through the walking scenes. That's all I'm saying.
Just add a little yakety sax to it. You know.
Fellowship of the Ring, Scott. It was just picked right as you were typing that.
Make sure we tell Brittany she'll probably die.
Currently streaming on Max.
Oh,
Not
great.
HBO Max, but Max and DirecTV. It's available for rent in all your place. And goodness gracious, you probably know somebody. I guarantee every library in the world has a copy of Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring.
Or just read the book.
Trying again to beat us for the longest title because he's destined. Somebody is destined to try to make my chart not work with these super long titles.
Guys, I've seen these movies one time. I'm not going to be here anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I have seen them one time. There was a guy that I was sort of dating, and he loved them. And we would start at like 7 p.m. and we would watch like the uncut versions, like the director's cuts that are like 4 hours. And I don't remember what happened in any of them. I remember the spider. That's it. Like that's
So this is funny.
Scott is asking every question just after Adam answers.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So Adam wrote this at 6:11, and then Scott wrote this at 6:11. Adam wrote, just watch the regular edition, not the extended version, at 6:12. At the exact same moment, Scott wrote director's cut.
Wow,
But you have to
Adam
notice,
That's mine.
Adam is commenting on YouTube, and Scott is commenting on Facebook.
Their minds are working the same.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Very same
And we
person.
have one
So we know
viewer
what
on
version,
Twitch.
what
as
version
well.
is streaming on HBO?
Don't accidentally watch the animated version.
Or do. Those are fun too. Definitely.
We know what version is streaming on Max.
I would assume it's the normal version just because the extended ones are really long.
You should be able to tell from the length.
Yeah, if it's like 3.5 hours, that's the extended one.
yeah.
The version that they're listing on Rotten Tomatoes is 2 hours and 58 minutes.
Yeah, that's the normal version. That's the
It's still
So
quite
3 hours
long.
is the normal version.
well, I mean, yeah. I've
So the
mostly watched
director's
the
cut,
extended
there's actually more.
Yeah, they're like 3.5,
there's
and I
a
think
lot
like the
more.
third one is like 3:45 or something with the director's
There's a
cut.
lot.
They're pretty long. In high school, at one point, we had a New Year's Eve party where we just did a sleepover and watched all 3 extended cuts in a row. And I in order to have something to do during the movies as well as watching them, we kept tally of how many times every character fell across the trilogy and which movie like fell down. Like Frodo falls like 40 times in like the third movie. It's like a lot. And then like
Wow.
the Lembas bread falls once, the small stones that start an avalanche fall like as a metaphor at one point. Like I have like a chart somewhere that I printed out of like how many times every character falls across the trilogy.
You get the feeling that Adam was trying to pick the movie going, I should pick the Fellowship of the Ring. No, you shouldn't pick the Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah. No, I think they're good movies. I remember like watching them and being like, oh, like this is interesting. Like I like that setup, but like I did not retain any of it, if I'm honest with you. Like I understand too watching it. I understood why people like them so much. I just wasn't one of those people, I guess. I don't know.
I'll reserve most of my comments for next week, but in my mind, it has the one problem that it can't live up to the books.
That's what I've heard.
I've tried to read the books. Little tiny paperback, tiny print. I couldn't get through the first page. I'm like, what the?
It does better than most adaptations. It really is good, but it's hard to live up to those books.
Well, Dave, the secret is don't read the books. Because that way the
Yes.
movie lives up to the movie.
Yes.
So I should quit
ruined
this
it
and
for
join
yourself.
Oprah's book
Quit
club
reading,
instead?
Dave.
Somebody asked me how this little idea started to do this movie show, and it was because my wife during the pandemic they were doing a Zoom book club, and I said, you know what, I would like to do a book club, but it's only books that were made into movies, and we'll just watch the movie. And
here we
that's
are.
kind of how, and then it was the Monday night movie club, and that's how it kind of started.
Mhm.
And if we'd stuck
So-
to that theory, that formula, we probably wouldn't have watched Who's That Girl? We wouldn't have watched Howard the Duck. We
That's
wouldn't
true.
have watched some of the worst movies.
Would we have expanded to movies based on a theme park rides at some point? As long as they're
You know
not an
what?
original movie.
That's
if they're-
right. Exactly. Just
Right.
non
No original movies.
Has to be based on some.
non-original IP movies.
Yeah, unoriginal Monday would have been the show, and then we would have done original Tuesdays.
Oh, that'd be cute. Good idea.
Wow.
I mean,
The new
this was
originals.
7 days a week when we started this 3
Yes.
years ago, 3.5 years ago.
Wow.
I remember.
Well, I
As they
guess
said on Spinal Tap, we called ourselves the Originals. Then we changed the name to the New Originals because there was already a band called the Originals.
You mean them?
Them.
It says that it was this or Batman '89.
Oh,
It's gonna be holstered for another day.
As well. That one's on my list.
The Flash in the theater is on my list, but I have a feeling it's going to be out of the theater very quickly.
Oh yeah.
probably. I
We
heard that
did-
people really liked it.
it's been very split.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So
went to
I
see
mentioned-
Elemental, and it was some of the reviews have been not so kind, but I really enjoyed it.
I mentioned my son had been streaming on the last show that he started Saturday at noon. He ended, I think, Friday at around 5 p.m.
Wow.
He streamed nonstop, other than, took some breaks, went out to dinner once or twice, but he ended up adding like 300 subscribers on Twitch.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
He just kept
Did he
going and
sleep?
going and going. He slept a little bit,
Okay.
like all day yesterday
I bet.
or all day today. But yeah, it was an interesting thing. And maybe someday Eric and I will do some sort of a thon.
A marathon. Ooh.
Where we discuss
Eric?
EriDan-a-thon.
movies.
Eric's like, good night, sir.
Eric would stay up all night. Hmm.
Well, in 2 weeks we'll have hit our 200th movie, so we could just talk for about all 200 movies.
That'd be kind of funny, though. It'd be interesting to go back through it.
We're gonna have a
That would
complete
be.
rewatch.
A rewatch.
Rewatch all 200 movies and
There you
re-rate them.
go.
Mm-hmm.
Re-rating.
If
Shuffle
you
the deck.
could do
Shuffle the deck.
3 movies, that would be amazing.
Well, it's
just
good to
have
hear
all
Adam's comment
those
there
movies
because
stand up in the
it would be
corner.
hard to be worse than Crystal Skull. That was a horrible movie.
So he says The Flash was good. I'm looking forward to it. And Dial of Destiny was good, but still disappointing. Way better than Crystal Skull.
So sort of maybe Temple of Doom level.
And he said, I will say, he should have said, I must say. As Ed Grimley
I
would
must
say.
say.
I must say.
Just
I
Ed
love
I mean,
Grimley.
go figure. Pat Sajak. Pat Sajak's being replaced by Ryan Seacrest. How unoriginal are they? Are
What?
these
It's not
people?
being replaced by Sajak's retiring. It's a little different.
Right. And,
He's
and,
being
and Ryan
replaced.
Seacrest is replacing him when he
Yeah,
leaves.
you made it sound like he's taking over his job. At least he didn't have to die like Trebek did.
It's kind of like the same guy.
They're
What?
hiring Ryan Seacrest.
Ryan Seacrest, let's just go through the list real quick. He took Rick D's job, morning guy in LA. He took
Kelly
Casey
Moore.
Kasem's job, American Top 40. Took Dick Clark's job on evening or on a New Year's Rockin'
Yeah.
Eve. Took Regis Philbin's job.
Michael
Mhm.
Strahan.
No, he took that. Regis was long gone.
Yeah, Michael Strahan took
Thank
Regis.
you. Michael Strahan was there when Ryan took over.
Play with the
Well, now
premise,
it's
Eric. Play
Kelly's
with the
husband.
premise. But it's still, these are iconic positions. Whether he was the
Right.
first person to replace them or the fourth person, he's been the host of these shows. And
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
Wheel of they could have done they have a year until Pat Sajak retires. Give it to Vanna White.
Yes.
She
Right?
makes $3 million a year to touch letters.
So why would she want it?
She was fine with her role then. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because
she
Pat
was.
makes $15 million a year.
Actually, I think she did.
I heard she's negotiating though because
She's
she hasn't gotten
filling.
raised since 2005.
Oh
right.
wow.
So
Okay.
if she wants to stay, but I don't think she'll stay with Ryan Seacrest.
Well, I think they will keep her around for at least a season or so, just to sort of help the continuity. But I don't think she's long for the job.
I think Pat Sajak's daughter has guest hosted and was really good.
Yeah,
and some people thought she should
Anna
stay.
filled in one time when Pat Sajak had to leave or wasn't able to be there right away, or emergency type thing.
I think he had a heart attack.
Yeah, and I think Minnie did the letters or something that day.
They shoot one show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They shoot a whole week of shows in one day.
Yeah.
It's like the
it's a good
easiest
gig.
job.
Game shows are good gigs.
40 days of work a year for $15 million.
So now, if Ryan Seacrest had taken over Pat Sajak's talk show, do you remember his talk show? How awful it was.
Horrible.
I think only Chevy Chase was worse.
Magic Johnson.
Oh,
you sit corrected.
remember Dana Carvey and Carcinio?
Yes,
that was brilliant.
Johnny Carson banned him.
I remember that. Yeah.
See, I like Blossom on Jeopardy.
Mayim Bialik's okay.
Me too. Man, pretty soon he'll be like Jeff Probst, and I'll have to stop watching Survivor.
No, I don't think he'll ever take over because he did American Idol.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's kind of he's an OG reality show host.
Yeah.
So he can't. Oh.
Anyway.
Okay.
I don't know.
He's going to take over for Hank Azaria on The Simpsons next. Yeah.
Possible.
There's no more jobs for him to take over in hosting.
So it sounds like the
Dancing with the
actors
Stars
have started
Yeah,
to line
that's
up
what I was
behind the
thinking.
writers to support the strike.
What was that?
The actors in SAG, some of the like Meryl Streep has signed on. Some big name actors have signed on, supporting the writers and threatening to strike.
Oh, they voted to strike if they can't get their deal, but the studio started negotiating with the Screen Actors Guild.
They can't live without them. They think they can live without the writers. They're wrong.
They can't live without them either, because the actors go up and they go.
Well, they were talking about that just on one of the guys on Conan's podcast, Matt Gorley, is a huge James Bond fanatic. Knows every bit of trivia you could ever imagine about James Bond. And they were talking about Quantum of Solace, and he was saying one of the reasons it's such a bad movie is there was a writer's strike. They did not have a complete script for that movie, which is why there's so many plot holes. There's so many scenes that just make no sense.
And they have to speak. They have to say every word that's on the page. They can't ad lib, and they don't have their on-set writer.
Yep.
That's the problem they're going to have right now. So they can produce stuff, but it's going to suck because
so get ready for lots of game shows and reality TV.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's coming.
That's okay.
That's all right.
Because now you're into July. The fall schedule's coming up. I mean, I realize it's not the big announcement it used to be 20 years ago, but still September is the kickoff month for new series, and I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
our shopping is sitting in nowhere right now. What's that, Brian?
They could hire me as a scab writer or something. I don't care. Just do it.
You're okay with that?
I'm okay with it.
But the problem is it's very short-lived, and you'd never be able to write again.
I know. I would never get a job after being a scab, which would suck. So actually, don't do that.
NFL players, how many football jobs they found after that gig?
Yeah.
Well, animation, the Writers Guild isn't covered by doesn't cover animation. So they're trying to get it in the new contract. That's part of it. Streaming and animation are. And our show's just sitting in limbo right now.
Yeah.
But we were a Screen Actors Guild production, so we can't cross the picket line to do anything else.
Oh, I hope it ends soon then, so you can get moving with this.
I know. We're not getting any younger.
Yeah, my mom asks every once in a while what's happening, and I'm like,
well, and you also wonder how long, because the talk shows like Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon, they're paying their staff, but how long can they afford to do that? You know, that's carrying a big burden when you got. I mean, I realize they've made millions, but still, that's still a big chunk of money to just spend every month to get nothing out of it except for the loyalty of your staff.
Right.
Right. The hosts are the one paying it, not the network.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not. I mean, think about. There's like 100 employees on each of those shows.
Oh, I know. It's a lot. I mean, you
From
don't
the
realize
key
some of the
card guy to the
ramifications,
light.
the snowball effect. I mean, they were talking about the Bud Light boycott and the fact that some of the bottlers have had to shut down now because demand has dropped so precipitously. So you get these random, just mill workers who are suddenly out of work because of a boycott.
Well, maybe people actually drank the beer ahead of time. They realized it was pretty crappy to start with.
Yeah, but it's also cheap.
They didn't need a boycott.
That was the thing. It was cheap and people bought it. And my mom told me that they actually had to buy beer back from their distributors because it wasn't selling. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's rare that a boycott has that much impact.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things is there's just so much variety. It's not like you can't boycott Lego easily, for example, because what else is there? It's Lego. But you can boycott beer because there's tons of other beers.
True.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Gesundheit. All right. It sounds like we've got nothing else.
I got nothing else.
Has anybody watched any episodes of Psych yet?
Oh, no. Forgot about that.
No.
I've not had a chance yet because we were watching the double feature, but I'm hoping to this week.
Of what? What show?
Psych.
No, but I have been watching Secret Invasion, the Marvel Disney Plus show with Samuel L. Jackson. And it's slow burn.
Really? That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I don't mind a slow burn as long as it gets good, but if it's a slow burn to nothing, that's
it's 2 episodes in, and it's not terrible. And if you're gonna keep up, you're gonna have to watch it before you watch the Marvels.
I know, but I'm so far behind now. I've watched I've pretty much watched nothing since Loki.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
That's a while ago.
Yeah, Mandalorian's been back out.
Yeah, Mandalorian's out.
Never watched the new one.
That's what I mean. The new one's been out since then.
And with a 3-hour movie, probably not going to watch much else this week.
Pretty much.
But high ratings.
Treat it like you have 3 1-hour movies to watch.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Has anybody ever watched the show Con Man with Alan Tudyk?
No.
He basically plays a guy who is on some popular TV show, and now he doesn't have much of a career, so he just spends his time going around to conventions and doing appearances and signing autographs. But the reason I bring it up is because Sean Astin appears in the series as himself, going to these conventions because of his parts in the Lord of the Rings movies. And it's really very funny.
Sean Astin was here in Pittsburgh. Did a nice panel. Super nice guy. Could not be more pleasant talking about his times on these movies. He seems very grateful for his opportunity to be in.
Both Elisha Wood and Sean Astin come across in interviews and in things I've seen as just being very likable, down to earth guys.
Absolutely, yeah. Nothing pretentious or entitlement, actory kind of stuff coming across. So, yeah. Well, this will be exciting. Our first foray into the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
This is always what interests me because we did all the Star Wars movies, but we've only done one Indiana Jones. We've only done one Pirates, obviously. Will we ever do any of the others?
We've done 4 Harry Potter?
We've only done Iron Man of the Marvel Universe. So.
Did we do 4 Harry Potter or 3?
We've done 4. I thought we did Goblet of Fire.
And then that's.
I think we did. Yeah.
We probably did.
Wow.
We did Goblet of Fire, so we did.
Yeah.
That's as far into any series as we've gotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we never did Austin Powers 3.
Oh yeah.
That's okay.
Try to keep that streak going.
Did not watch it.
So.
And we didn't do Somewhere in Time 2 either.
Oh man.
They didn't make it. That's why.
Yeah.
They went back in time.
Somewhere else in time.
Yeah.
Well, here we go.
I'm willing to watch these again. We watched them when we were first dating or first married, and I was like, "What is happening?" Because they were so long. But
I read the book.
I'll try again.
They are.
It's like when you wake up on Saturday morning. Do not try to do this after work after a hard long day.
Yeah.
Like do it fresh when you're wide awake, ready to go. Because it is a movie you really have to. Okay, let's go. Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you.
Happy 4th, everybody.
Yes.
Yay. America.
Keep your fingers.
And to our British
USA.
friends, Happy
USA.
Tuesday.
Something like that, right?
Losers.
What? There we go. All right, one more.
This name drop is sponsored in part by America. Now under new management. Come on back to America.
Sorry. That's all I got. That's as patriotic as we're going to get. All right. We'll see you all next week. Lord of the Rings. Bye.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.